Dennis Johnson from Melville House. We're deep in the coronavirus lockdown here in New York City. Staff is all working from home. So I've been calling up a lot of colleagues and friends in the business just to ask them what they're doing to get by, looking for tips, strategies, maybe a little inspiration along the way. Okay, it's week 10 of the lockdown here in New York City. And we're going to be talking today to a couple of growingly popular Twitter presences in the book selling world in the Midwest today. One is Gary Lovely, who is the buyer and does marketing for the Book Loft in Columbus, Ohio. He is also a small press publisher. He runs Harpoon Books and also a literary review, the Harpoon Review. And he is purportedly also a Kentucky colonel, and I'm not sure what that work implies, that title doesn't work. Maybe he can straighten that out for me in a little bit. Also joining us, Danny Caine, who is, he too wears several hats. He's a published poet. He might have written a screed or two about Amazon, particularly one called How to Resist Amazon and Why. And maybe the most famous for owning and running the Raven Bookshop in Lawrence, Kansas, which the Midwest Independent Booksellers Association named him as the Bookseller of the Year for 2019. So guys, welcome. Thank you for doing this with me. I want to start by just finding out what it's like where you are. We're still pretty much in lockdown here in New York. Some things are slowly opening up, but basically 10 weeks and I haven't had a face-to-face with a human being. What's it like in Kansas, Danny?
Well, things are, the governor's stay-at-home order expired on May 4th, I believe, and people are kind of slowly emerging and beginning to figure out what the next steps look like. We're in a phased reopening. We're in phase 1.5 of the governor's plan. I believe gyms and barbershops were allowed to reopen this week. In terms of small businesses and restaurants and stuff, everybody's kind of figuring it out on their own. The Raven is still closed to public traffic of any sort. We're operating very busily on online sales, free delivery to Lawrence, and USPS shipping. That's more than enough to keep us busy, and we're a tiny space, so we really have to think carefully about social distancing with our reopening plans.
So just to clarify, the store is closed by decree or by your decision?
That's our decision. We could be open to customers if we wanted to. But us and several of our friends, small businesses that we kind of communicate with and take cues from are either still closed or doing one-on-one appointment basis housing. Everyone's taking it slow. From our decision, it's really, really important to me to make sure my booksellers feel safe coming to work. And in discussions with them, they don't feel comfortable in a browsing kind of public situation yet.
Right. How about in Columbus, Gary? What's the situation there?
Well, we were allowed to open back up on appointment-based shopping on the 12th. So up until then, we had been doing curbside pickup, delivery, and shipping just like anyone else. So far, I'm sorry?
12th of May?
Yes.
So just a few days ago.
Yeah. So we're brand new in appointments right now. So it's pretty strange. The Book Loft is an enormous space, so it's kind of a little different situation. We're only allowing around 10 people in the store at a time. So far, we've barely had to interact really with anyone. We've got markers all over the store to kind of keep everybody away from each other. We've changed kind of the direction and flow of the way people walk through the store. So it's been pretty safe. We're requiring all the customers to wear masks as they come in, as well as the staff. It's been okay.
Any resistance to those kinds of requests?
No, not so far. People in Columbus are pretty supportive of the Book Loft, thank goodness. And they all are, I think they've been really conscious about, space and really just kind of relieved that, there's kind of one normal thing that maybe they can try to do, through the day. We reduced our hours down. We're not really requiring any booksellers that, don't feel comfortable coming in. They don't have to come in. It's been good.
Good. Take me back, if you will, both of you. I'd like to hear when this got to you, how it came upon you, first reactions, and then strategies to meet up with the issue. How about we start with you, Danny? When did you realize you had to shut down?
It's, it was a kind of a slow realization. The first case didn't appear here for a little while after California or New York. I remember on March 11th, we hosted a huge offsite event with Luis Erdrich, which is a fabulous event, one of the highlights of my book selling career. But even then, I was extraordinarily nervous that putting 450 people in this auditorium would create Lawrence's first outbreak. That didn't happen, fortunately. But basically, after that, the next day, we implemented free delivery to Lawrence and $1 shipping as a way to kind of prepare people. And then we kind of slowly phased back our in-store operations. And so we did browsing plus delivery for about a week. And then we closed the doors to the public. The free delivery to Lawrence has been immensely popular. That idea has been popular from the get-go. The first day we had maybe 6 deliveries, then we had 15, and at its peak, we had 75 deliveries per day, which is 3 full delivery routes. That's 3 booksellers driving 2-hour delivery routes around Lawrence. We've reintroduced curbside pickup, which has slowed down delivery a little bit, which I think the delivery drivers appreciate. So at the beginning there in late March, it was kind of a throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. And fortunately, being a small business, being totally independent with only 10 employees, we can be flexible and kind of pivot on a dime if we have to. We introduced a program called Book Benefactors, where we send surprise care packages of books to people who are nominated as being in need of some books. That was hugely successful. We tried.
They didn't request it. Somebody else said, "Send my
right.
friend." Okay.
Yeah. So the website, you can submit a nomination at bookbenefactors.com, or you can donate, and they're separate. And most of the nominations and donations are anonymous. So the recipients receive surprise book packages. And that's been great. And that really helped with cash flow and keeping the booksellers busy at the uncertain beginning of all of this.
You were able to keep your staff intact?
Yeah, we haven't furloughed or laid off anybody or cut any hours. In fact, we've increased hours a little bit, just with the website traffic. And I think that's where having our Twitter presence really helps, is we had a large audience ready to pivot online as soon as we asked them to. Mm-hmm. And they've really followed us, and we're very thankful for that. Our online sales are up 9,000% over last year. Which means 2 things. One, it means we weren't really doing any online sales last year, so it's kind of a false statistic. Yes, we're very busy on the website, but it was just nothing last year. We would have maybe 4 or 5 sales per week, and now we're up at these numbers.
Yeah.
We did try a full shutdown for 1 week. We weren't sure how the governor's stay-at-home order was impacting us, so we shut down fully for a week to communicate with them to make sure we were okay proceeding safely. And then we reopened in our current method of closed to the public, open for delivery, pickup, and shipping. And it's been maybe 9 weeks of that. Mm-hmm. And every week we can keep doing the same thing is such a huge relief, because at the beginning it felt like we had to reinvent. Every Sunday night I would send this agonized, come to Jesus email to my staff, how are we going to do this safely next week? And we'd have these difficult but important discussions. So it feels nice to keep cruising and be able to actually learn this workflow.
Yeah. I want to ask you a bit about how you're breaking down that work, but let me first find out from Gary how this came onto you.
Well, it was a strange in the beginning, when Columbus, is obviously, hasn't really handled this whole thing, very well. I'm sure, as you've seen, from, maybe some articles and stuff where they've been, storming the State House and all that stuff. So we actually closed down about a week before we had to, which was kind of scary because, the Book Loft, the way it typically runs is, we have a huge Columbus base, but most of our sales are tourism traffic that comes in on the weekends. On a typical Saturday, we're used to seeing around 1,000 visitors each Saturday. So it was like this whole thing. We're like, okay, we're actually just going to just stop. But how are we going to, okay, if we stop, now what are we going to do? So there was this whole, confusion back and forth, at first with the governor, which is like, what can we do? What should we do? How many people can be in the store? I think in the beginning, what we thought was like there could only be one person in the store to maintain inventory or to, for security reasons or anything like that. But once we got past that, we opened up delivery. We opened up free shipping. We started sending out mystery boxes to customers, which was a huge hit. I think we've sold, right at 700 of those, which has been, pretty good. Which is, another thing about those, and I think Danny can probably attest to this too, is that, that's all of our in-stock, stuff. So we don't have to pay for anything. This is all stuff, just straight cash flow. So that's been super helpful. As far as our staff goes, like I said, no one has been laid off. In the beginning, we kind of just shortened everybody down to 3 days a week, but everyone still was paid, like they were coming in full time, just to kind of reduce, our interactions with each other. But besides that, it's been kind of smooth. It was kind of, like Danny said, like every day, it was something different. How are we going to, plan what's going to change, but I feel like we've handled it, and, we're super thankful to Columbus and our, Book Loft fans that are, we've had, orders come in, from most of the states, from different countries. So it's been pretty warming.
Nice. Did either of you get the Small Business Association's PPP loans for payroll?
We did. The Raven did, and it was a surprise because the conventional wisdom about that program is that you can't get, you really couldn't get it from a big bank, but we bank with a national big bank, and we did. I was surprised, but I have a very, very good accountant, which is one of my best pieces of business advice, is have a good accountant. She had me 100% ready to go and really held my hand through the process.
The two essentials for any small business: a good accountant and a good lawyer.
Right. Oh yeah, it's totally true. So that was just that was breathing room, and that allowed us. It really was a huge help, and it's kind of a hard fit for some businesses who had to furlough people, but because we still had everybody on, we didn't really have to make any changes to adapt to the loan forgiveness requirements.
Right.
So it was a real godsend for us.
What about the Book Loft, Gary? Does this apply to you guys? Were you able to get loans?
We missed out on the first round, but we ended up getting the second round. So that was we were pretty thankful for that.
So you just had another hair-raising week or two in there waiting for the second round.
Yeah, yeah, because we were kind of like barely hanging on, just enough to keep going. So that was a good spring in our step for sure.
Yeah. Same thing happened to Melville House. I think this whole thing did come down to the banks. Our bank didn't get our application in fast enough, but then we got it on day one, literally in less than 24 hours. Once the funds were, it was a hair-raising week, but
yeah,
great though. It sounds like that's the thing that's really helped all of us stay alive. I want to talk to you both. We're all doing such different things now. We're doing more of things we didn't used to do so much of, online sales. How has this affected who's doing what at the store? Have you had to, for example, find who on the staff is the social media whiz, or how, did you have to soup up your website? How did you handle these kinds of new chores? Let's start with you, Gary. Are people doing different jobs now at the Book Loft?
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the kind of funny things is that for whatever reason, we weren't using stamps.com before this, because we really weren't, we were shipping out orders, but not enough to where it would really matter.
Right.
So we've had to create this whole new section in our processing center where it's just packing and shipping, like a whole shipping station, which is kind of funny. We actually changed the way that we do our special orders, which has been super helpful. So it's kind of like, you know, we've kind of been learning on the fly, like, okay, this is the thing that I've been doing wrong for years. So it's been kind of helpful in that way. We had a couple new hires right before this whole thing started, which has been probably kind of horrifying for them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we've really used this whole thing to kind of find their strengths in the store as far as, you know, customer service. And we've got a, you know, kind of a door greeter right now, which, you know, he's been doing really great. Just kind of bringing customers into the store, making sure they have their hand sanitizer and their masks and all that stuff. But besides that, everything's been kind of normal. We got a lot of projects done during this whole thing. We painted the store. It's kind of it looks a lot different now, but it's good.
I thought you were going to say you were able to tally up more returns, which is the terror.
We tried to not. Like in the beginning, there was that was the first thing I'm sure a lot of us thought was, oh gosh, we have to do this huge return, you know, right in the very beginning. That's the only way that we're going to stay alive. And I think we did a big Random House return, but it ended up being just what we would have normally returned. We didn't do anything extravagant. So I'm sure that was scary for you.
God bless you, Gary. I appreciate what you said. How about at the Raven?
Yeah, we had an employee start on March 16th. And so like that was a really intense, and she was originally hired as Wednesday nights and Saturdays, and now she is up to 30 hours a week. And she's doing a very good job at a very grueling task, answering phones and emails. So we have someone who's nearly full-time, doing nothing but customer phones and emails, order status updates, people calling for orders. The phone is ringing off the hook. And so that's...
What's her name?
This is Hannah.
Shout out to Hannah.
Hannah's doing great.
Hannah.
And then she says, I am wonderful. Right. So we... and then, like, everybody has had to change what they do. I think the most drastic example is Nikita, who's one of our daytime people. She was formerly in charge of ordering sidelines and managing and curating and merchandising our non-book stuff. And she did a great job with that. But of course, now we can't sell that. The way indie commerce websites work, our calendars and journals don't show up because a lot of it doesn't come through Ingram. And Nikita is basically the shipping person now. She's coordinating deliveries and shipments. Another grueling task. She's doing a wonderful job at adapting to that. And so we've all had to tweak what we do quite a bit.
What a nightmare for so many stores that have been bulking up on merch sales over. I
know, and it's like in normal times, it's smart to sell sidelines because the margins are better, and that's how you create a unique profile for your store. I'm definitely thinking about ways to get back into that. I just placed a humongous puzzle order from Chronicle, but like with puzzles, we have to enter them manually into the website, and so it's just one of those things with selling through the website so much. You make a little bit less money per book, but you're doing twice as much work, and so the sales are still strong, but the labor is just through the roof, and everybody's working so hard. Yeah. I can't believe. I'm just very thankful to my staff for doing this very intense new workload with high spirits and kind of a game feeling about all of it.
You're here. The angels have agreed with you on that. Well, I'll just point out, by the way, looking at your T-shirt, that clearly some people are still buying merch from indie booksellers.
We do. I should make a plug for our new T-shirts. We just put up a pre-order link on our website today for a new T-shirt. And it's a lot of stores have turned to the T-shirts during this for an extra bit of cash, and it's a smart idea. We just took our time because we wanted a really great design, and I think we landed on it.
Yeah.
Gary gave this to me last time I was at the Book Loft. So,
you didn't say that, but I'm sure people can get that T-shirt at your website, Gary. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually were giving a lot of them away there for a little bit in mystery boxes, but we ran out, so we're kind of low right now.
Well, it's a nice way for people to support the store too. They not only buy something, but they're advertising for you. Let me change the topic a little bit. I'm wondering what you guys are selling right now. It sounds like sales are still pretty good, maybe not near what they used to be, but I'm surprised to hear how strong they sound at both your stores. what's selling? Can you talk about, is there any kind of trending going on in the books you see going out the door?
Anything about flu or pandemic or anything like Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks sold a ton. We sold a ton of The Plague by Camus. A lot of people are turning to the classics, which I actually think is pretty cool. War and Peace is a bestseller at a lot of places. Bread cookbooks are huge. And I'm just thinking of the stuff that I can't keep in stock and isn't in stock at the warehouses.
Yeah.
But it's also tricky because on when you order through a website, we're ordering single copies of a lot more books because it's not people browsing a curated selection of 10,000 books. It's people with millions of books at their fingertips. And so a lot of this stuff is just one and done special orders.
Right.
To kind of curb that, because that's not the most profitable way of doing things. To kind of curb that, we've created a page on our website called Best Books in Stock Now to help with the turnaround. And then it's like, to be able to guess a little bit more and be able to order in bigger piles, we're trying to kind of encourage customers to shop those books. And those are the big new releases, the Emma Straubs, the Hilary Mantels. That stuff sells, and it always sells.
How about at the Book Loft? What's selling?
Well, cookbooks went crazy like in the beginning of this, and I think was a lot to do with Twitter. Everybody was posting their recipes and their bread and everything online, so we went through more cookbooks than we probably ever had. It was kind of wild. For a while there, we were selling tons of puzzles. That was in the beginning there when we were doing curbside pickup. What we would do is we would put stacks of puzzles out on the side of the street, and then people would come up and just kind of point at what they wanted, and then we would bring it up inside. We've sold a lot of poetry lately, which has been kind of cool because the Book Loft really doesn't sell a lot of poetry. I'm not really sure why, but it's really ramped up lately. All the new releases have been going out pretty steady. Yeah, we've honestly done a lot of sideline sales, especially around Mother's Day. You know, people were calling in, and we were taking phone orders for cards and things like that, and people were just trusting us to kind of shop for them, which was kind of neat.
Yeah. Well,
Gary, do you have 2 phone lines at your store?
3.
Yeah. We have. It sounds like you're doing a lot of phone sales, and we only have 1 phone line, and that's a thing I'm nervous about doing, is adding a line, because like it seems like a weird time to add an expense, because not only is it a higher phone bill, but then I'm sure we could have 2 employees always on the phone instead of 1 employee always on the phone. There's also the built-in employee time, but like these are the weird calculations you have to make. Like in normal times, if the phone was this busy, of course I would add another phone line, but I don't know how long it's going to last.
Well, gentlemen, we're nearing the end, but I have 2 final questions for you. One is, do you each have a strong book to hand sell me right now? How about you, Gary?
Oh, for right now, oh, absolutely. I've been selling The Memory of Old Jack by Wendell Berry. I've sold more Wendell Berry in the past 3 weeks than I've probably sold ever. And then I also just picked up The Museum of Whales You Will Never See by A. Kendra Green, and so far it is fantastic, and I would definitely recommend it.
Who is the publisher of that?
That's Penguin Books.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
And I know you're a real Wendell Berry champion, because I see you talking about him all the time on social media. So, bravo.
Yeah.
Danny.
Yeah.
What do I need to read right now?
The book I'm loving right now is a Canadian novel called Reproduction by Ian Williams. It's put out by Europa Editions. It's this kind of boisterous, multi-generational family saga about the awkwardness of families you would call non-traditional, but it starts with an unlikely romance blossoming in a hospital room. And so like romance built out of grief and crisis feels resonant right now. But Ian Williams is a poet. The language just leaps off the page. It's an ambitious novel. It's very funny. It won the Giller Prize in Canada. And I champion it because I fear for the smaller, it's hard to make a smaller press book break out in a time like this,
Right.
I think.
That's one of our better small presses.
Yeah. So, they're worth fighting for. All of them. Melville House, Europa, whoever.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thank you. I feel like I just got a master class in how to hand stuff from you guys. So my last question is, what are you doing differently now that you're going to take into the future and still keep doing after, God bless, this is over soon? How about you, Gary?
We're definitely, we started these mystery boxes, and that's been, the biggest hit of anything. We haven't sold 600 or 700 of anything in the past, 2 years, and we're definitely going to hold on to that. Our shipping has totally changed with the way that we, ship out normal orders and do returns. So that's saved us a lot of money there. So we've definitely going to hold on to that. We've also realized that the kind of dumb, social media stuff that I do a lot of the time with the Book Loft, which is just really strange and kind of out there, it's actually helped a lot during this. So yeah, it's kind of shown a lot on some things that maybe we weren't really paying attention to that, we're definitely going to continue.
Well, yeah, the Book Loft social media is just hilarious. I mean, I
Thank you.
I feel like that just makes you friends right there. That makes people pay attention, and they appreciate that at this time.
Thank you.
And to clarify, your mystery boxes are not exactly what Danny's doing. People are just calling up and saying, you shop for me. This is for me.
Yeah, so we have a little comment section on our website where folks can just put a couple genres or maybe a book that they've read, and then we just kind of go from there. It's a $70 price point. That includes a free tote bag and a couple other like weird stuff that we just want to drop in. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Excellent. Okay, Danny, what are you gonna keep doing when this is over?
We are doing fun boxes too. We're calling them Raven Mystery Fun Boxes, and that's unlike the book benefactors. You can order one for yourself at the $50 and $100.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know why we haven't been doing that all along. It's the best idea. It helps get rid of stock that's sitting around. It helps push books that are stranger, and like we still bring that stuff up as sales. They still get reported to bestseller lists. So it's a really great way to kind of really push for books that you advocate. I mean, I've ordered stacks of 30 books because like, oh, this is a great mystery for the fun boxes, and it just goes into each one. Conviction by Denise Mina is one of my favorite mysteries I've read recently. It's going into like all the fun box. Same thing with Deacon King Kong by James McBride, which is a book I adore. Everybody who ordered a $100 fun box got that book.
Yeah.
So we're for sure going to hang on to that. I think a lot about, I think this is making us all, or many of us, better at being accessible to our customers. And like free delivery in town is an amazing thing for people who can't get down here for some reason, whether it's mobility issues or being older or just not wanting to park and deal with the meters and the parallel parking. And so I think it's a really good, I wouldn't redo any of this if I'd given the choice, but I do think it's making a lot of people better booksellers in terms of accessibility. So I'm thinking about hanging on to delivery. We might charge for it once it's all over, but we have a charge option for delivery right now, and about half the people are paying for delivery, even though we offer it for free as well. So just kind of broadening what we do and how we reach our audience is a really important and smart thing to think about. So we're definitely going to hang on to delivery and the fun boxes, and we might stick around with some other things too. But paying more attention to the website and the social media is also smart, I think, in this day and age.
And then there's Hannah.
There's what?
Hannah.
Oh, right. Yeah. We'll hang on to her too.
Your real secret weapon for the future. Yeah. All right, guys, it's been great to talk to you. Really encouraging. It's wonderful to hear that you're really stepping up to the situation and you're going to get through it. And I want to thank you for your time. I send you my best wishes. Please take care of yourselves and stay safe.
You too.
Thanks so much.
All right.